So this is what I was listening to when I thought of my speech. To most people who listen to Troutmask Replica, they turn it off before they're 15 seconds into the first track, and to be honest, I don't really blame them. There isn't a discernible melody within the songs contained here. It's something that most people generally look for in music. They want to sing along or tap their foot to the beat, but as you can hear, it's kind of wacky, and it's not something you can sing along to. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't contain merits, and I really enjoy it. This album is a strange piece of art. It's an amorphous sounding thing, and it's ugly. Ugly might even be too kind of a word to describe it. So the question now is, okay, Luke, what does this have to do with public alleys? And why do you subject yourself to this crap? So, to fully understand why this is labeled as public allies, a little bit of a history lesson is necessary. In the late 1960s, before the production of this album, Captain Beefheart, aka Don Medley, and his band had already produced two other albums to critical acclaim and minor success, with audiences who at the time were listening to psychedelic music and expected a little bit of the absurd. The first two albums, unlike Troutmask, were bluesy psychedelic rock albums that had ability to go create radio hits. Fortunately, they did not. Captain Beefheart was dropped off his label and was on the search for a new home. Luckily, an old friend and the king of experimental music in the 60s, Frank Zappa, hooked the band up with his new label, quote-unquote, Straight Records. And they got a deal that left them able to experiment and have complete artistic freedom, which was exactly what Captain Beefheart wanted because they are moving in a more experimental direction. Captain Beefheart prepared to write and record their album, Troutmask Replica, and what seems to have been a perfect storm, created by Frank. This album, and specifically the way it was created, sparked my thoughts and formulated what I learned, and basically made me think about what I learned in Public Allies. In creating this album, Captain Beefheart had to prove that it was really something he cared about and wanted to do. And like most artistic ventures, it's passion project. He and his band lived together in a house for 8 months and survived with no jobs, only on welfare. And this is because they were writing and practicing songs for the album constantly. I think it's kind of funny to see that this 8 months it took to record this album is not that far off from the 10 months I spent in AmeriCorps. While I wasn't playing an instrument and practicing for studio sessions, I think that similarly, the trainings and the times I spent in my nonprofit preparing for the next step in my life they're comparable. While I wasn't on welfare, the stipend I received this year definitely wasn't something I'd call substantial. So that's also the biggest thing that I think I learned from all the people I met this year. And the thing that I think that this album caused me to think about was compromising, and specifically compromising goals. People at Media Bridges were one of the first people that really got me thinking about this because I've never been a very idealistic person, and so I'm always kind of overly critical about myself and a little bit cynical. And specifically, two people I worked with, my supervisor Keith and one of my coworkers, Rob, just inspired me a lot because they both have a sort of idealism and a real strength for what their goals are in life. Rob has everything planned out he wants to do, and he always talks about 5 years down the line I want to do this, and 10 years down the line I want to do this. And he really just talking to him made me feel so much I just had a lot of great conversations with him. And then Keith is a guy who really loves to write, and he's writing books, and I actually helped him by illustrating the cover of one of his books. But he also inspired me because he does what he really wants to do, and he doesn't take crap from anyone else. And I think at this point, halfway through the year, I was kind of considering do I want to continue to do something that I really love and possibly not make a lot of money, or do I just want to get into a job where I can make a livable wage? And I think that these two guys for sure had a lot of help inspiring me to continue on a path of my own personal interests over over the money kind of thing. Like, you need money to live, but is it really worth taking a job you hate for money? And I also think that many of the public allies I've worked alongside with have shown me that dreams are something to continue to work towards regardless of whether they seem like they're possible or not. I decided to continue trying to make a career out of my artistic abilities rather than trying to take a typical job to get a livable wage. I think that not compromising my dreams for the future will end up paying off well because I'll hopefully find a job that makes me happy. This, in my opinion, is better than finding one that makes a ton of money but leaves me miserable and unsatisfied. Being in public allies has made me feel steadfast in my hopes of finding a professional career that I truly enjoy because I have been able to meet many people through the program who have already done this or are on their way. And especially in my TSP, like I've just been seeing all my TSP members like talking about nonprofits they've started their job and how excited they are about it, and it's really just like justified for me that like continued choice. So this year I've stopped making excuses when talking with people about my goals and endeavors and hobbies. When someone says something about being a starving artist or telling me that I'm too strange, etc., I find it doesn't bother me like it used to, and I don't plan on putting on a song and dance with people who, frankly, I think are pretty long-minded when they think life's what makes life worth living. I'm constantly trying to become more self-aware, which I think is a double-edged sword. But during this year, it definitely helped me to become more confident in where I'm headed in life. Captain Beefheart and Manny Band spent 8 months living together, spending every waking moment together. And at the end of that time, it only took them 6 hours to record this album, which is regarded as one of the best and most seminal, important, experimental rock records of all time. I'm hoping that my 10 months of public allies can produce something equally poignant, substantial, and acclaimed in my life. Considering the extra 2 months I got into train, I'm guessing it'll only probably take me 4.5 hours to work everything out. Time to work hard without compromising the rules. Thanks.